Hey guys, I was so not going to go live tonight. I've got my new purple glasses, threw my purse and my cane on the bed, got back from Costco, Price Mart recently, and the kitchen was just full of produce and meat and all kinds of crazy things I bought there, including the most luxurious cat bed. So, I was gonna take a day off and not do a video. And then I saw it. Somebody sent me a link to a video by a couple that travels the world and posts videos about their travels, do's and don'ts, all kinds of things. Adventure Campoletti, I think it is. I don't know. I'm going to drop the link in the description because I watch these people. They're 9 do not do's for Costa Rica, and I just laughed because a lot of this, what they were saying, they're telling you the partial truth instead of the real truth of what goes on here. If you live here a while, you pick up on the fact that a lot of the travel sites do not have the correct information. And that can harm you. You can really get into some trouble. Their number one rule, first one was no open suitcases on the floor. Don't leave your luggage open because scorpions and bugs. Here, please. I just have to say, this is Costa Rica. I don't care if you hang your clothes up, you stick them in drawers like I have mine over there and there, or what you do. You know what you're going to end up with? I don't care if you seal them in plastic bags, you're going to find bugs. That's one of the realities of Costa Rica that takes some getting used to. The bugs. I have found scorpions in all kinds of places. One time I hung a shirt of my husband's in the closet. He pulled it out and put it on. He had a scorpion in it. The good news is the scorpions here are not dangerous. They don't have any kind of poison. They're non-poisonous. So if they bite you, like they bit my husband, then it's not a big deal. Just rub on a little Benadryl cream or bugs, whatever, and go on your merry way. So don't sweat that. Don't even worry about that. They were making a big deal over the fact that they found a scorpion in their suitcase. Okay. They say don't eat at chain restaurants, only eat at little tiny Tico places, only eat at the little neighborhood. Um, and I'm totally losing my marbles. The little neighborhood places, the little sodas. I'm going to say that's a good thing to do. The sodas here, the food is fabulous. I've had very few meals that are bad in a soda. I have been to a couple sodas that were run by people doing the gringo shuffle and upcharging a lot. So, while it's a good idea to eat local, and there are some excellent local restaurants here, including several really high level gourmet ones as well. Um, I'm going to say this about fast food restaurants here, about chain restaurants. Every chain restaurant that I've seen here, be it Denny's or McDonald's or KFC, you name it, an American chain, you know something that they're not going to tell you about those places, but I can tell you about those places. They all carry local meals as well. You can get a typical Tico meal there, and it's very inexpensive. It's just as good as anything that I've experienced from a just a basic soda. If you want rice, beans, chicken, whatever, you can get that inexpensively at a chain restaurant too. And sometimes the chain restaurant might be open where the soda, these little sodas that are run by the locals, sometimes they close them for all kinds of reasons, like I've decided to go surfing for the day, so I'm closed. So you can eat at chain restaurants and still have good Tico food. The food here isn't great. Just going to be really honest with you, but I did grow up in South Louisiana and ate in New Orleans frequently as a child. So Tico food is not spicy at all. It's not like Mexican food. It's rice, beans, plantains, that sort of thing. It's good food. It's good hearty food, but it's not the tastiest stuff in the world. So there is that. They said don't go off beaten paths. Don't go off any kind of trails or anything like that. Um, There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. The main reason is to keep you from trampling the wildlife and to keep the areas relatively clean. Now, there are exceptions to that. There are a lot of places where you can go off the beaten path and explore. I noticed when they were talking about how they hired all these Tico guides. They hired guides. That is the national industry here. Everybody and their brother that gets wants to work, they get a van, they put turismo on the side, and they build themselves as tour guides. I avoid those. I usually don't go for those guys because what happens is you're going to have to haggle with them. They're going to want you to pay a large sum, probably at least like $40 for a tour that you could have done for free. Now, there are some exceptions to that. If you're going into Manuel Antonio, I would recommend a guide. The path is pretty easy to walk, but guess what? If you don't have a guide, and I mean a good guide, I know a guy named Josue who's there, who was our guide, who was excellent, who knew he had his facts down, his facts and figures. A lot of them don't. I had an experience once where we were here with friends that came over and they wanted a tour guide. So they hired a tour guide. Well, the tour guide wasn't real honest about a number of things, but I think the most disappointing was he continually violated rules about wildlife safety here and safety on the paths. He asked me, he saw I had brought some stuff with me on the trip, and he said, "Can I have some of your bananas?" And I said, "Sure," thinking he wanted to eat a banana. He took my fingerling bananas and went out and was just handling them around, and the monkeys came out of the trees and jumped on all the tourists' shoulders. That's illegal here. You can't feed wildlife. And they don't encourage it. You just make the wildlife more dependent upon people. You make them less afraid of people, and that's not a good thing. So there's that. So just be real careful and be mindful of who you're hiring when you hire people here. I would ask people you know here who to hire. I wouldn't just hire the first guy that comes on. I mean, you want a tour? Because they're everywhere and they will bug the hell out of you. And they're not necessarily good tour guides. Okay, they were complaining about the exchange rates, about how if you pay in dollars, you get ripped off because a lot of places do 2-for-1 with dollars. You have to be mindful of the exchange rate. But here's what they're missing. While you're being mindful of that exchange rate, you are not really going to get that ripped off. If you go into a high tourist area and they're telling you they're going to do 2-for-1 beforehand, get the rate beforehand. Some places have excellent rates. We were in PriceSmart this morning, and their exchange rate was almost the same as the bank's exchange rate. So ask around. The more reputable places are going to have their exchange rate posted right on the door, or they're going to have it posted on a sign when you walk in, so there's no concern. There are also a lot of credit cards out there that will let them charge it in colones, which is the currency we have here. And the card company won't charge you a conversion rate to convert the currency from colones to dólares. So if you're going to buy things here with your credit card, make sure your credit card is one that won't charge you for buying in other currencies. He mentioned in this little video that you could go to the bank. That's true. You can go to the bank, but here's what I'm going to recommend. I'm going to go even further because I've been here a while and I've learned a lot of stuff. When you go to the bank for your exchange rates, make sure that you go to Banco de Costa Rica or Banco Nacional. We bank with Banco Nacional. Their exchange rates, they are the government-backed banks. They're safe, they're trustworthy, and their exchange rates, I think, are some of the better ones. And I have never had a problem with it. You just need your passport. Walk in there and say, "Hey, I want to exchange dollars for colones, or I want to take colones off this card. Can you help me with this?" And they'll be more than happy. They're really nice, the people at the bank we deal with. They said, don't stay in one place. And there's a lot of good to that piece of advice because there's so many great places in Costa Rica. We're here in Tamarindo at the beach. I'm a beach person. But every now and then we go up to Arenal, which is it's a man-made lake with a volcano on the edge, an active volcano. So there's that. There's a lot of things to do there. There's all these hot springs. Again, don't fall into the tourist trap. There are free hot springs that all the locals go to. You just look and see where they're parking off the road near Tabacon, and the free natural one is right there. That's where we go. So if you don't stay in one spot, you need to at least think about what it is you want to see and do. Limon has a lot of the sloths, but Limon rains all the time, and it's on the Caribbean side. If you stay in San Jose, it's just like every other big city in this world. There's nothing much to recommend it for me except shopping and conveniences. There's the Southern Pacific, the Osa Peninsula. A lot of great things to see there, and places like Capes with Emmanuel Antonio. That's a good one, a good place to go. It's a nice natural park. Um, Central Valley, there are a lot of mountains. There's a lot of little teeny tiny mountain villages that you could explore that are really nice. Up where we are, it's all beaches, 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 mountains, and flat valleys with the most beautiful farmland and farms you've ever seen. And stay off the beaten path. They don't recommend that, but I'm telling you, if you stay off the beaten path, you're going to get a lot for your money, and you're going to get to see a lot more. It is so easy and so cheap to get around in this part of the world just using a bus, or if you don't like buses, using a collectivo or a taxi. The official taxis are going to be expensive, so we always use the collectivo or the parada taxis. In the big city, you'll be able to get around using Uber and Lyft because they have a lot of Uber and Lyft drivers there. Then you can order it right on your phone, of course. So you just need to decide what it is you like. I mean, we one time went to the Monteverde Cloud Forest, which is beautiful, but I can't take the cloud forest. Apparently, the cloud forest makes my asthma go crazy because of the mold. So it was not a good place for me. But Arenal is wonderful. It's nothing like that, even though it's probably 20 or 30 miles from the cloud forest. Um, they said don't go to Tamarindo during spring break because of the college students. That's not exactly quite right. Tamarindo is where I live. It's not the college students. Spring break is not at all about college students. Spring break, the Easter week, is Semana Santa. Semana Santa is when the entire town fills up with everybody from San Jose. Every single Tico from San Jose comes here to go to the beach. And you can't even get anywhere near the town. I mean, there's times I've ditched my car and walked because it's just too much, or you take the bus in because it's just too much. It just gets crazy in that time of the year. Everybody piles in for the week. I stay home in my little weird little triangular shaped village, and we stay home for that week. We stay home or we go back to the States. Semana Santa is miserable. Do not book your week here during Easter. You're going to pay the highest prices of the season. You're going to deal with wall-to-wall traffic. There's no moving on the beach even. It's crazy. Okay. They said don't use Apple or Google Maps. Well, you can use Apple and Google Maps. There's just one problem. They're not always accurate. So, especially if you have a GPS. The GPS programs and some of the GPS they'll rent you from with your rental car are just outrageously incompetent. The maps, I don't know why they aren't updated. These people were griping about the dirt roads. Well, let me tell you something. When you're out in the countryside here, there are dirt roads. There's paved ones running through good areas. There's paved roads running between major cities. Everything else is dirt, baby. The road I live on is dirt. I live on a dirt road. The big bar down the street, they're on a dirt road. Waze works here. Waze is the most accurate I've found. So if you're trying to get around put Waze on your phone and take a look because it does work. It's about the only one. It just won't warn you which roads are dirt and which ones are washed out and that you won't be able to drive on. And there are some of those even here in Tamarindo. They were complaining about how incredibly expensive it is. It is expensive in tourist areas. Tamarindo is freaking expensive. It just is. In some ways, if you come Easter week like they come, the prices are jacked through the ceiling. Hotel rooms are crazy prices. The food in the restaurants, even the sodas are crazy prices. I've seen the groceries go up then. We've always joked that we get our groceries before Semana Santa or East or Christmas week, the two biggest, busiest, most insane weeks of the year to be here. We get all our groceries and stuff before then. They were complaining about the cost of gas. Well, let me tell you, gas in the United States is subsidized by the government to keep the oil and gas industry going. So in America, you're paying lower gas prices because the government subsidizes the oil and gas industry. The sad fact is it does not do in the rest of the world. Everybody pays the going rate for their country. Here in Costa Rica right now, it's about $6 a gallon, maybe. It just went up the other day, so I haven't taken a look too much at that increase, but we did pay a lot more today. I think we paid close to $60 for a tank of gas, but we don't travel a lot now. We'll go every now and then to Arnall. They were waxing rhapsodic about the sunrises here. Well, the sunrises are nice, but you have to consider if you've come to the Gold Coast here, and most of the tourist attractions are going to be on the Pacific Gold Coast side. That sunrise you're watching is going to be coming up over mountains and buildings and all kinds of crap, and you may not even see it worth a damn. She was talking about how the surfers, how awesome it was. The surfers were coming out at 5 and 5:30 in the morning. That's all well and good, and that's true. They do come out. The good surfers come out first thing in the morning. So if you really want to watch the professionals, come out then. Come out at sunrise and watch the surfers, especially in Tamarindo, because here's one of my favorite things to do that I've always gotten the hugest laugh out of is to have breakfast at Eat at Joe's, which is a restaurant there at Witches Rock Hotel. So if you're staying at Witches Rock or you're staying at the very lovely and very inexpensive Pueblo Dorado, which is across the street and down a ways. I love that hotel, by the way. I've stayed there before. Your breakfast is included. If your breakfast isn't included, the breakfasts there tend to run $10 to $15. Well, anyway, my favorite thing to do is go have breakfast there and sit back because their entire dining room is thatched little umbrellas over you, and you're looking out toward the ocean. Not only are you looking out towards the ocean, you're getting to look out and watch all the beginner surfing classes, which is the funniest thing in the world, to watch everybody coming right off the bus or the boat or whatever, and they're surfing. People who've never surfed before. I always like to watch that. I can't say I like to watch people wipe out, but I do know how hard it is. I used to do it. It's not an easy thing to learn. A lot of people seem to think it is, and they show up and they wipe out and they wipe out and they wipe out and they wipe out. And I'm sitting there with my cup of coffee like this, just watching on my way to get a massage from the lady set up in the lobby who does excellent massages. We know her quite well. She's worth the extra money. Their biggest no-no, their biggest ninth no, which I just busted out laughing at because this is gringo, white person, middle class, upper class entitlement if I've ever heard of it. Better than the time the lady told the clerk at Witches Rock that she wanted them to stop the wind from blowing the sand into them. They were complaining that you can't get coffee or a breakfast until 9 a.m. There's a little bit of truth to that. There's a lot of places that don't open that early. There are places that cater to surfers that do. All the tourist places don't. But if you're a serious surfer and you got to have your coffee and you're here in Tamarindo, which is rock, they open early. I believe that Breaking Bread, which is one of my favorite places here, they open earlier than 9 a.m. too. Now, there used to be a coffee shop connected to Witches Rock that was called something like Daily Grind. I don't remember, but they have since gone under and nobody is able to get any coffee from them any longer. So yeah, if you need Starbucks, you better stay in San Jose because they do have regular Starbucks there. Or most hotels will have coffee available early in the morning. If you want to get up at 5 a.m. and drink your coffee and watch the sunrise and watch the professional surfers, watch the good guys, most of them will bend over backwards and even make a pot for you if you must have your coffee. And I had to laugh because the lady in the video kept calling this place Costa Rica, which is kind of my idea of how it should be pronounced if you're going to a tourist area. The tourist areas are going to cost you a whole lot more. And like I said, there's all kinds of fabulous places that are not quite on the beach, that are just off the beach, that are very, very reasonable. One of my favorite places here is the beach that's closest to me, which is Playa Grande. And they have a couple of different hotel options there. They have the Ripjack Inn. There's a hotel that has changed its name a couple times. I can't think of what they call it now. It used to be the Bula Bula. That's an excellent place to stay. Now it's some kind of Grateful Dead themed hotel, which I haven't seen yet, but that kind of makes me laugh. The whole idea of a Grateful Dead themed hotel. I don't know. So I have to get over there to that. So that's my recommendation. Talk to people, find places off the beaten path. Don't go where everybody else's brother goes because you may find yourself as part of the madding crowd. And who wants to be part of a crowd? I sure don't when I'm on vacation. But there's all sorts of really cool stuff to see too. We stayed one time in a Tennis, which is just past the airport a little bit. And we stayed at this lovely hotel. This lady had a finca. I can't remember the name of the hotel, but it was on the very top of a mountain. And you could stand there and just look at everything you could imagine around you. We had like a 360-degree view from that place, and it was possibly my favorite hotel here. Okay, so I have to talk a little about Costa Rica today because as you see, I got new glasses. They're a dark purple. So we went to get my glasses and Costco, Price Smart, and pick up other stuff. We grabbed all of our groceries for probably the next 3 months. I've got the freezers completely full of meat now instead of slightly full. So on our way there, we're pulling out of our gate here because our house, we're behind a high wall and a gate, which is a good thing here. Because when you see those well-scrubbed Baptist missionaries, and I do see them sometimes, and I see the Mormons and the other people, the Seventh-day Adventists, people who send out their people to, I guess, proselytize is what you call it. I'm really glad I'm behind the wall and the gate and the intercom is broken. I keep meaning to get a ring when I go to the States to replace it with so I can see who's out there. But now I'm thinking I'm not going to replace that because they can be knocking on the door, they can be ringing the bell, and I don't have to put up with it. I'm just like, no bueno. I'm here in the house. I'm not even going to listen to that. So there's that. So that's broken. And so we pulled out, and we saw a lot of telecable trucks. If you know me at all, you know that I've been struggling with bandwidth. I've been struggling with bandwidth to upload lives. I've been struggling with bandwidth for all kinds of things. Bandwidth for all kinds of things. Sometimes the internet drops and I can't even get on. So we deal with hissy, who is the government-backed internet and cable thing, so everyone has access to internet and cable here. And I'm in my weird little triangle. I'm between here and here, and I can't get anything. So anyway, Telecable came and laid all this fiber optics. I saw it. We've been talking to them for several months about switching over. They were supposed to come last week and switch us over. They never showed up. So we see there was 3 Telecable trucks and said, "Hey, stop. Can we talk to you for a minute?" And we talked to the guy. He said, "Oh, yeah, well, I can't come out because I have no way to connect you." And I was like, "What?" So it turns out in my lovely second world country that they only have so many plugins to plug people into the fiber optic in every area. And my little weird triangle only has 18 slots. And there are way more than 18 of us here. So now I have to sit here and wait until somebody cancels their service before I can connect to the fiber optics and get decent service. Oh, I guess it's not the end of the world. And it's not like I'm doing without anything or it even matters, but there it is. So now you know that these travel log things, they're not always really super true. They're kind of glossing over stuff and coming up with stuff. It's just really, here's what I'm going to say. It's just really hard to know a place unless you've lived there. And even living here, opposed to living in Cope de Dota, where we first started, it's worlds different. It's worlds different. There, it's a very sleepy, tiny little village. And here, it's the world and its brother. So there is that. This is actually a really nice place to be in rainy season because there aren't that many tourists here then. And there's everything to do, and it's much cheaper if you come during rainy season. Just don't come in October. October, it rains every single day, and I am not lying on that one. I mean, it rains hard. You're going to be sitting on that porch like this going, "Come on, please stop raining. Please stop raining. I want to get in the pool, but I don't want to get my hair wet." So there's that. There is that. Most people will book to come here between January and April. That's the high season that everybody is trying to catch as much tourist fish as they can, as much dollars as they can. And back to the dollars. I was talking about exchange rates and things, and using your credit cards and all that. A lot of places do take dollars. There are a lot of places, and they have their. And I know I said this earlier. They have their posted amount. And it's usually, if they have it posted, it's favorable. If they don't post it, it's not favorable. But they'll take dollars. I've seen them take euros. I've seen them take all kinds of currency. The only currency I can't get them to take is my Nicaraguan money I still have from the last time I was in Nicaragua. Nobody wants to take that for some reason because it's not worth as much, I guess. So that's all I want to tell you. And if you want to skip what we did, we came here. If you want to skip expensive restaurant meals, I recommend going and doing the breakfast thing. Then after you've done the breakfast thing and you feel like you ate a brick of lard, when lunch rolls around, just scoot on over to the nearest deli or grocery store and pick up banana bread and cut up fruit salad and stuff. And then go out to some really nice place for dinner. I mean, that's a really good cost-cutting measure if you're trying to keep your budget down. And like I said, that was the thing I missed. There was something I knew I missed. Car rental. I was talking about gas being so expensive, and they were carrying on about car rental and groceries. Groceries are more expensive. Hey, Tiny Dancer. Yes, I can see you. I think that it hasn't been working right. People are coming in and out, in and out, in and out. I've had more than 2 viewers at a time. But I've been talking about Costa Rica and of somebody else's video about it. I've been laughing about how many inaccuracies they had. They were complaining about car rentals here because they said, it was cheap. And they quoted a price. And I was like, you think that's cheap? That's actually kind of high. I think the best prices I've seen on rental cars here are two different companies, Adobe Rental and Economy. Both of those places, I've never had a problem with it. Here's what you got to remember about renting a car in Costa Rica. The Costa Rican government requires you to carry a certain kind of insurance on the rental car. They will not accept any kind of rental car coverage on your credit cards or your insurance back home. And it runs, last time I rented a car, I think it's like $33 a day extra, this insurance. So while you're looking at it going, wow, I can get that car for $25 a day, you have to factor in the $33 a day on top of that. You just do. It's just that's exactly what it's running. So the other thing is you have to have a credit card with enough space on it for you to put $1,000 hold on it. Because the rental car companies here, they will hold you responsible if you wreck the car in some way, shape, or form. And that $1,000 is the guarantee for them that you won't wreck the car. And trust me, when you live in a place where there aren't a lot of most of the roads are not paved, you're going to ding that car up. You are going to ding the hell out of it. So you're going to ding the car, you're going to pop some tires, and that's kind of the way it is here. So that's what that insurance is about, and there's no way around that. There's no way around the $1,000 hold, and there's no way around that insurance. If you're gonna, hey Heidi, if you're gonna rent a car here, you're gonna pay that. Okay, so now we got Costa Rica out of the way. You guys want to talk about something else? I think the feed must be dropping because people are dropping in and out, in and out, in and out all night. Did anybody Oh, I'm so sorry, Tiny Dancer. I had a feeling that was going on. I don't even know how much of this video it'll show. So I'm getting ready to move to StreamYard, I think, because I'm going to get Bruce Garenzer to come on and talk about the IFB. I'm going to get Bruce, I still have to ask. I had to talk to Mike Hickman, M. Dolan Hickman. He wrote a book, a really excellent one. He's also an expert on the kind of child discipline the Pearls use. Did she pop in and think nobody is here? I don't think so. I think the YouTube is not behaving right tonight. And I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. I mean, for me to sit here and talk for 30 plus minutes about Costa Rica and get no comments is pretty odd. Usually I get one or two. I know most people are not that interested in Costa Rica, but, you know, like I said, yeah, buffering all evening. I thought it was just me, but it is just not. Heidi, I know, because I was watching. I have a new love on YouTube. There is a fireman that does the funniest fireman videos. He breaks it down. I just die laughing when he describes when he does green screen and he inserts himself into Fox show 911 or 911 Lone Star. He does the funniest crap I've ever seen. So he's been screwing up left and right all day as far as the channel lagging and stuff. So I think that's all it is. And I'm just going to go ahead and go and maybe see you guys tomorrow because I wasn't even going to do this, but I saw this crazy video and said, yeah, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to put a link to the video in the description so that everybody can see what I was talking about. The nice thing I like about the video is it's a lot of there's a lot of coverage of Tamarindo where I live, and it shows just how gorgeous it is, but it also shows how incredibly touristy it is. Les touristes everywhere. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go. This is all screwed up. This is all screwed up, Noel. First time I saw the thumbs up. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's definitely showing more people than actually is in here. So I'm going to go. It's all screwed up. It's a mess. It's a hot mess. Hot mess.